It was a quiet evening, and I was alone in my apartment, working late on my laptop. The room was dimly lit, the only sound the occasional hum of the refrigerator in the kitchen. I had just finished a cup of coffee when I noticed something strange, a faint, acrid smell creeping into the room. It was subtle at first, like the scent of something burning, but it quickly grew stronger, more pungent. I got up to investigate, thinking maybe I'd left the stove on or something was wrong with the heater. As I walked into the kitchen, the smell intensified. It wasn't just burning, it was gas. My heart skipped a beat. I checked the stove, all the knobs were off. I crouched down to inspect the gas line under the sink, but everything seemed normal. The smell was everywhere now, thick and suffocating, but I couldn't find the source. I opened the windows, hoping to air out the apartment, but the smell didn't dissipate. If anything, it got worse. That's when I heard it, a soft hissing sound, like air escaping from a pipe. It was coming from the hallway, near the front door. I followed the sound, my pulse racing. The hissing grew louder as I approached, and I realized it wasn't coming from the walls or the floor. It was coming from the door itself. I reached out to touch it, and the metal knob was ice cold, even though the rest of the apartment was warm. I hesitated, then turned the knob and opened the door. The hallway outside was empty, but the smell of gas was overwhelming. The hissing sound was louder now, echoing down the corridor. I stepped out, my breath visible in the cold air, and that's when I saw her, a woman standing at the far end of the hallway. She was dressed in a tattered nightgown, her hair long and matted, her face pale and gaunt. Her eyes were black, empty voids, and she was staring right at me. I froze, my mind screaming at me to run, but I couldn't move. She started walking toward me, her movements jerky and unnatural, like a marionette being pulled by invisible strings. The hissing grew louder, almost deafening, and I realized it wasn't just gas, it was her. She was making that sound, her mouth twisted into a grotesque smile, her teeth black and broken. I stumbled back into my apartment and slammed the door shut, locking it behind me. The hissing stopped, but the smell of gas was still there, choking me. I grabbed my phone to call for help, but the screen was blank, the battery dead. I tried the landline, but there was no dial tone, just static. I was trapped. The lights flickered, then went out, plunging the apartment into darkness. I fumbled for a flashlight, my hands shaking, but before I could find one, I heard a knock at the door. It was soft at first, almost polite, but it quickly grew louder, more insistent. Then it turned into pounding, the door rattling in its frame. I backed away, my back pressed against the wall, as the pounding grew louder and louder. And then it stopped. The silence was worse than the noise. I stood there, holding my breath, waiting for something to happen. That's when I felt it, a cold hand on my shoulder. I spun around, but there was no one there. The smell of gas was unbearable now, and I could feel myself getting lightheaded. I stumbled toward the window, desperate for air, but it was stuck, wouldn't budge. I grabbed a chair and smashed the glass, but the air outside was just as thick, just as toxic. I turned back, and she was there, standing in the middle of the room, her black eyes fixed on me. She opened her mouth, and the hissing started again, louder than ever. I tried to scream, but no sound came out. My vision blurred, and I felt myself falling, the floor rushing up to meet me. When I woke up, I was in the hospital. The doctors said I had been found unconscious in my apartment, the carbon monoxide levels dangerously high. They said I was lucky to be alive, but I know the truth. She's still out there waiting, and sometimes late at night, I hear the hissing, and I know she's coming back for me.